I've searched for Pokemon cards in Osaka, I've searched for Pokemon cards in Kyoto, I've even searched for Pokemon cards in Nagoya. But today, I searched for Pokemon cards in the biggest city on earth, Tokyo. My expectations are completely blown by Tokyo's card shops. That was the best store I've been to in Japan. With shops selling new cards, vintage cards, graded cards, and even E-series. I've honestly not seen anything like this. And I find the hidden gold mine of the Pokemon card world in Akihabara. It was insane. We have made it to my final destination here in Japan, which is Tokyo. So any final pickups all have to be done here. I'm pretty excited. Tokyo is obviously a massive city, so there should be a lot of cool stores to check out. And where better to start than where we're staying at the moment, which is in Ikebukuro. We definitely will be hitting up Akihabara at some point because it's just like a rite of passage for collectors and gamers. But starting off the hunt here in Ikebukuro. Okay, first stop of the day, as per usual, is Book Off because it's the only thing open at the moment. Most of the card stores in Ikebukuro don't open until about midday on a Monday. So we're here in Book Off, having a look around. They have the most insane wall of Pokemon plushies I've ever seen outside of a Pokemon Center. And we'll check out and see if there's anything cool. Why do I feel like that's really cheap? Something I've noticed in Japan is just a plethora of in-box DS Pokemon games. Like, look at all of that. Like, this whole section is all just Pokemon DS games. Something super cool is that, don't quote me on this, but I think any Nintendo developed Switch game will play in English on your Switch if your Switch is in English, which is really cool. And I found the prices here are generally just like so much cheaper than at home, even for a brand new game. But even the secondhand ones are just in immaculate condition. It's like buying a brand new game. So I've picked up a bunch of Switch games throughout Japan that I've been very happy with, very good deals. But even just look at this, I found another wall of just all DS games. It's just crazy. Plus, you can do tax-free at Book Off if you spend over 5,500 yen, so definitely a bonus. Now to find the trading cards. Now, not all Book Offs will have trading cards, so you'll have to look up ahead of time which ones do have that. But in my experience, almost all of them do. Found it! So Book Offs often have quite a big selection of cards. Look at all these promos. We were looking at these Pichu ones up here, the mischievous Pichu. Normally have a really big selection, but normally a little bit on the pricier side. But if there's anything particular you're looking for, it can be a good place to come. Heaps and heaps of art rares. A lot of these I have picked up already, but it's still cool to see so many in the one spot. Got a few things in Book Off for one of my binder challenges, which was good, just some bulk cards. But now we have still about 20 minutes before I think any of the card shops open. So I'm gonna have a wander, see if there are any hidden gems that aren't on Google Maps that perhaps opened a little bit earlier. Wish me luck. Just went in the first actual card store of the day, which was full comp. Not anything we're really interested in. I mean, they had a bunch of stuff, but a little bit on the pricier side. So we'll head to the next one. We have about 10 minutes now to waste until the rest of the card stores should open up. So we're getting close. Now here in Ikebukuro is a little bit like Nipponbashi in Osaka. It's definitely not the same. Nothing compares to Nipponbashi. But there are quite a few card stores in a little cluster here in Ikebukuro. And then the other main cluster in Tokyo is Akihabara, obviously. But it is nice being able to walk to all these different stores, a little bit easier than in other cities, but still nothing compares to Nipponbashi. That is just elite. Okay, we just finished up in Labo, which was another store that opened before 12, which was nice. We weren't allowed to film in there, unfortunately. They had a decent selection, but it was mostly all modern. There was no vintage, but they did have a couple bulk bins of art rare cards. And if you've watched my previous card hunting videos, you know the art rares are where it's at for me. They're my favorite type of card. I'm obsessed with them. I have been stocking up while I'm in Japan and picked up a whole bunch more. They had a bunch for 80 yen and a bunch for like 100 yen, which is a pretty standard price. So I just went through there, and there were also some character rares, some Sword and Shield as well, which was good. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot. I did pick up a couple Disney cards as well from the bulk bins, which I'm pretty happy with. But now everything should be open. It's now 12:30, so on to the next one. Now now heading up to Big Magic. We popped in here yesterday. Quite a small store, but they actually had some really cool graded cards. I actually picked up one for myself, which I'll show you at the end of the video. Some cool vintage graded slabs, some higher end ones, some cheaper ones, and some cool vintage cards as well. But yeah, like I said, quite a small store in comparison to some of these other ones, but we'll pop up again, see if there's anything different to yesterday, see if we can film, and maybe I can show off some of the really cool slabs we saw. We just went into Big Magic. Fortunately, they had a sign saying no filming, which is really sad because honestly, that's been one of my favorite stores to browse in. It's very small, but they have some of the coolest stuff, predominantly vintage stuff, but really, really cool graded cards, like heaps of E-Series holos, some E-Series commons. They have some on display, but they also have these little cards about this big hanging, and it shows the rest of the graded cards they have in stock. Just some really, really cool stuff. I'm really sad I couldn't film, and they also had some raw vintage cards too, which would have been cool to show you, but I did pick up 2 secret rares, which I'm pretty happy with. We got the Galarian Rapidash, and we got the Leafeon from V-Star Universe. They also had some of the best prices I've seen on sealed product since we've been in Japan. They had sealed V-Star Universe boxes for 6,800 yen, which is about 68 Australian dollars. And then they also had sealed 151 booster boxes for 8,800 yen, which is about 88 Australian dollars. So by far, I mean, the 151 at the Pokemon Center is cheaper, but it doesn't come in a sealed box. So that was pretty cool to see. We're now about to go to one of the coolest stores we've been to in Japan. It's very well known. It's called Card Secret. They have a massive selection of Pokemon cards from all around the world, all languages, English, Japanese, French, Thai, Indonesian, just everything. It's actually the most incredible thing to look at. Unfortunately, the prices, especially of the singles, are a bit on the higher side, but it's one of the coolest stores. We have to check it out. Hopefully this store we can film in. We're not having much luck on the filming front, and I kind of feel like if I'm not spending hundreds of dollars in their store, I don't really have the right to ask to film when there are signs saying no filming, but I'll try and describe as best as I can if I can't film inside, but I really hope I can. So they have these cool boxes at the front with just some slabs in. Nothing too crazy, just sitting here, but some pretty cheap stuff. If you're looking for a cheap PSA slab, or if you've got like a kid who doesn't care about like the rarity of the card. The most insane selection of packs. Spanish, English, it's just crazy. Got some German Evolving Skies, some Portuguese Evolving Skies, Korean 151. They also have this section up the back of just miscellaneous Pokemon things that you can sift through. Oh my god, this is awesome. Oh my god, this is so cool.
To cut the Game Boy case.
Yeah. That is freaking awesome. A Game Boy Color carrying case with Pikachu. I used to have a carrying case, but I don't think I had a Pokemon one. I probably had just like a boring one, but that is actually really cool. We did come here yesterday and we found some insane stuff. That's not the insane stuff, but I'll take you over there where they've got the sealed English stuff, but there were some insane boxes and tins just like sitting on the shelf at the back, like no big deal. And they're a big deal, so we'll definitely show you that in a second. Got some Snorlax face masks, why not? Got some more face masks, we've got some Squirtle, some Bulbasaur. As you can see, there's really just a whole bunch of stuff in here, so you kind of have to sift through, see if there's anything you might like. So on top of the packs from around the world, they also have cards from around the world. So there's a whole bunch of English singles here. See, we've got, oh, it's so shuddery. Got some Toys R Us promos, Sun and Moon Guardians Rising, Team Rocket Returns, whole bunch of cool stuff. Got the Umbreon V from Korean EV Heroes here. The Moonbreon just casually sitting there from Korean EV Heroes. They do also have a small selection of graded cards. They're all quite expensive, so if you're in the market for something higher end, this is your place. This is really cool. You've got the Lovebirds, and you've got a whole bunch of sealed stuff. Like, look at this Mewtwo tin, just out here on the shelf. 2016, I have absolutely no idea what would be in there, but probably something really cool. We've got some Paldean Fates tins. What's that from? A bunch of the newer English boxes, and then just sitting here is this Marshadow box, $148. Got some Crimson Invasion. I can't see what that is. This is pretty crazy. We've got obviously the Paldean Fates boxes. This looks to be, I think, a Chinese. And then some miscellaneous booster packs, the White Schwartz Palau. Just some random stuff that I've not really seen before, which is cool. Sun and Moon trainer kit. I've got absolutely no idea what comes in that, but that's pretty cool to see. They have some Lorcana as well. They've got some starter decks, one Trove, and some Rise of the Floodborn. So this is the Evolution wall. It is purely Eevee and Evolution cards. So as you can imagine, it's pretty insane. Got all the Unigabas up there. Like I said, a bit pricier than I found them elsewhere, but it's still super cool to see all these cards just in the one spot, which is really cool. It's the Chartime, I think, Indonesian promo. There's some really cool stuff hiding down there at the bottom. They also have a massive bulk bin section and it's pretty organised. Like you've got Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet item cards. Come down here, we've got some Diamond and Pearl. There's Black and White, XY, old back. So if you're looking for some older commons, it's pretty organised. There's also a bin for promo cards. So this section has a whole bunch of different promo cards, as you can see, in multiple different languages. And if we flip around, you've got a whole bunch of different style cards. Like, I've got no idea what these ones are. We've got the Cardass cards, which are pretty cool. But also this bad boy for $380, and some Pokemon shoes if you'd like, which I actually think they're kind of cool, but this store is really insane, and like, even though the prices are a bit high, it's definitely worth coming in just for a browse because it's just unreal the amount of stuff they have. Just rows and rows and rows of vintage Pokemon cards, all different languages, all promos, the bulk bins in all different languages and from all different eras and organised, the sealed product. It's just a crazy store to have a look in. These are all different. TCG, you've got the Southern Islands all back there, just there. Some games, Fire Red there. You've got some sealed vending series at the back. Some vintage English, got some XY Phantom Forces. So Card Secret obviously has such awesome stuff. Didn't pick up anything. It's unfortunate the prices are so high, but I think they can get away with it because it's just such a cool store with such a big selection. If there's anything specific you're looking for in Japan, I would maybe hit up there just because of the wide selection that they have, particularly of vintage cards. But it's just so fun to just go in there and browse at everything. But now, unfortunately, with all the stores opening at midday, really coincides with my lunchtime. So it's now 2 o'clock. We're gonna stop, have some lunch, and then keep going. Okay, lunch has been had, the body has been refueled, I'm rested, I'm ready to keep going. It's about 2:30 now. I have lost my assistant, as you can see, Rosh. He's gone back to the hotel for a bit of a break, which I do feel really bad. Like, this is really hard work walking around, standing all day, squatting to look at the shelves. And like, I can get through it because it's of interest to me, but it's not really of interest to her. But she might meet up with us later if we're still going. So we're back on the hunt. I'm gonna head to Mandarake because I've not been to one here in Tokyo yet. I think it's down here, I can't really tell. So far, I think Osaka's still been my favorite place for card hunting. Just the best deals, the best options, the most shops, but we're not done yet. Okay, nothing in that Mandarake, unfortunately. There was no games or trading card section in there. It's a lot of kind of anime collectibles and records and books. So we're gonna head back to another card store that I bookmarked yesterday. It has pretty good reviews on Google, which is actually kind of rare. A lot of the card stores don't seem to have very good reviews, but we'll head there now. Maybe go to a few more that I didn't get to yesterday and hopefully find some good stuff. I'm concurrently filming a few binder challenges as well, so that's gonna be my primary focus in these card stores. But you know, I'm a sucker for a good bulk bin, especially if it's art rares or vintage. So hoping for some of that. Would be cool to see some more graded cards as well. Hopefully we'll have some more luck. I found the next store now. Often what I've found is Google Maps will say it's on the first floor and it's just absolutely never on the first floor. This one's on the 5th floor. I finally found where to go. Hopefully we can get some good stuff. It's highly rated on Google. We're heading to Torecca Chase. The name's familiar. I can't remember if I've been to one of these before.
なんか6連勤の方が都合悪い。
In Torecca Chase, I picked up 2 slabs and some raw cards for some of my binders, which I'm pretty happy with. I'll show you the slabs towards the end of the video, or maybe after I'm done shopping in Ikebukuro, I don't know. Pretty cool. They had a bunch of different slabs. They had all the Unigaba evolutions, which I mean, it is the temptation to buy the full set of PSA 10 is so real. Getting really hard to resist for me, but no, pretty happy with my purchases. I took a bit of video before I realized you weren't allowed to film, so I'll put that over the top, but yeah, no filming inside unfortunately. But otherwise the prices were kind of around what you see in most stores, like the art rares. I can find them cheaper, so I didn't really get any of those, but I'm pretty happy with the graded cards I got. They had some cool ones. They had the Skeledirge EX SAR from Triplet Beat PSA 10. It was 3,900 yen, so about 38 Australian dollars, which is really good. They had the Pikachu #1 promo from Scarlet and Violet, some of the evolutions from EV Heroes, which is cool to see as well. But yeah, pretty cool selection, pretty happy. But on to the next one. I'm now going to head up to Yellow Submarine, which is also a chain, not just exclusively trading cards, but they have some other anime stuff as well. Haven't had any luck in Yellow Submarine in Japan, but I might as well check out the one here in Ikebukuro while we're here. Hopefully they have something cool. Hopefully maybe some cards for these sets that I'm trying to complete. But I'm still frothing over these purchases. Love a good slab. Pre-Japan, I didn't actually own a graded card. I picked up a few for myself while we're here. I picked up a few, just kind of, I want to hold and see what happens with them. So really, the way I phrase it to Rosh is that they're to sell. I want to keep them, but they're to sell. But I want to keep them, but they're to sell. I think I winked at the wrong time, I don't know, but they're really cool. Okay, now I'm still on the hunt for a deck box today, so they seem to have quite a few here. Okay, just browsed in Yellow Submarine for a bit, went through some bulk bins for probably a good half hour for one of my set completions, so nothing too interesting there. They had some stuff, but not that big a selection. I think what I'm missing here in Ikebukuro is a shop with some really cool vintage stuff that's not super expensive, like Card Secret. I've seen like bulk bins of old backs. I went to Hobby Station yesterday, I didn't film it. They're usually my go-to for bulk bins of art rares, which they didn't actually have surprisingly this time, but they had the biggest bin of old back cards, which was fun to sift through, but I'm really on the hunt for some E-Series bulk. I have seen people come to Tokyo and find some good bulk bins of E-Series or some binders, so that is my goal. For something cool, you know, I want to see something cool. I've seen a lot of the same. I want to have some fun looking through some vintage bulk, but I'm not sure where we'll go next. I'm trying to hit up all the spots I've not been yet, and then I'll maybe go back to some places I went yesterday and take you with me, but I'm sure I'll find somewhere. There's plenty of places to go. Okay, I've picked out another store on Google Maps I've not been to. Also has really high reviews, so hopefully we can find something cool in here. Please something cool. Can we get some here? Okay, this looks a bit more promising. Okay, so that store was freaking awesome. I didn't film inside because there were only a couple people in there. At the time, it's a very small store, so I didn't want to be in the way, but pretty much just vintage stuff. They had some modern stuff. They had some really cheap slabs, which I love. Picked up 4 art rares PSA 10s. 3 of them were 1,480 yen, which is less than 14 Australian dollars for a PSA 10. And then I got one for 500 yen because why not? It is the most random Pokemon. I can't even remember who it is, but for 500 yen, I was like, absolutely, I'm picking that up because worst case, surely I can sell it for $6. So I was pretty happy with those. They had a few more, but I resisted. And they had some higher end stuff. They had a lot of like E-Series cards, some really cool holos. They had an unopened sheet of Vending Series cards, which was cool, and heaps of vintage holos, which was really cool to see as well. So I highly rate that shop. It is this one here. Big yellow sign up on the 2nd floor. Just a really great shop. I was very happy with that. And I don't even know if I need to go to another one because I was so happy with that, but I probably will because I've only got so many days to go card shopping here in Tokyo. Okay, so I'm in the process of trying to find somewhere to sit because something else they had cool in that store were these like bundles, and it was mostly in Japanese, but I thought it said 10 art rares and it was 680 yen, so about 68 cents an art rare, which is very cheap. I found some, the cheapest I found is 33 yen, and that was in a book off, and I'm fairly sure someone just forgot to do their job that day. Otherwise, the cheapest I've found is 80 yen. So 68 yen an art rare is really, really cheap. It said AR or S, which I'm guessing is shiny, but there were a bunch of these ones that were art rares, and then there was another pile where there were shinies on the front. So I don't know if there were different ones, like a bundle of just art rares or a bundle of just shinies, or it's going to be mixed in. So I bought one, but look, let's be real, if this is just a bundle of art rares for 680 yen, I will absolutely be going back and getting more because that is a bargain. Damn, don't you hate when you finally find a seat and as you're walking over, someone else takes it? Something there's not a lot of in Japan is public seating or benches. Got my eye on another one, can I get there? Okay, so my bundle is in here. I am very excited at the prospect of this being 10 art rares for 680 yen. Let's check it out. They're not individually sleeved, which is a bit of a red flag, but look, we've seen worse. So I picked this one because the first card is the Chansey art rare, which is a bit of a pricier one, tends to be 200 yen and above. So I thought, you know, worst case, I've got that. Second up, we've got Caterpie. Okay, that's a really good one. The Lickitung tends to be about 150 as well. For a giraffe. And last one. There we go. You know what, that is really not bad for 680 yen. Like I said, art rares tend to be about 100 yen each for just like regular, not fancy ones. Like I said, something like the Chansey tends to be above the 200 mark, generally about 250 yen that I've seen, and I've been to a lot of card stores over the last few weeks. That Lickitung as well, generally about 150 yen. A bunch of these other ones as well, generally at least 100 yen. So I'm pretty stoked to get each of these for 68 yen. I think I definitely will go back tomorrow and pick up a couple more of these bundles. Always come prepared. And you know what, they're not in bad condition. I mean, I know it's poor behaviour for them to not be sleeved, but they're really all right. I found that a lot of these stores that tend to sell less things and maybe like more vintage than modern will have like art rares super cheap because perhaps they just buy them in bulk. I apologise, the SD card and the camera simultaneously died at the same time. SD card was full, camera died. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that deal. Definitely might go back tomorrow. Okay, that was a very successful day in Ikebukuro. Unfortunately, it started pouring with rain, so I had to cut my day short at about 5-ish PM, bit after. Would have liked to go for a few more hours, but that's how it is. It's too hard. When it's pouring like that, it's too hard, especially with the camera and carrying around all the cards. So called it short, but I thought I'd do an interim show you what I got video rather than waiting till the end because I did buy quite a lot of stuff in Ikebukuro, so I thought it'd be good to show you now, and then when we go to other places in Tokyo, if I get anything else, I'll show you that then. But I definitely ate my words today. I think at the halfway point of the day, just after lunch, I said I wasn't really feeling it in Ikebukuro. Just felt Osaka was way better. Well, Ikebukuro is where it's at. I'm very impressed, particularly with graded cards. In Osaka, there wasn't a whole lot. I think Magi was really the only store where we saw graded cards. And I found some really like small stores here, but just really cheap graded cards. If you're not looking for anything like too fancy schmancy, as you know, I love art rares, so that's pretty cool, but I'll show you what I got. I couldn't film in probably the last couple of stores or update you as to where I was at because it was just pouring with rain, so I had to put the camera away. And they were very small stores, so it was hard to film inside. But anyways, I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'll show you what I got. Okay, as you can see, there is a lot of stuff here. So I'll show you some stuff I picked up yesterday when I was not filming. So I just got this Vulpix, which is super nice, from Hobby Station, which I did not go in today. Big Magic, this was today, which I did show you. I got the Galarian Rapidash and the Leafeon, which are pretty cool. This one was one of my favorite purchases yesterday when I was not filming. This was also from Big Magic, and this was this Vulpix from Expedition, first edition, PSA 10. Just super nice. I did actually pick this card up raw as well. I think in Osaka maybe, but it's probably one of my favorite cards of all time. I'm obsessed with it, so that was an awesome pickup. This was today. This was from C Labo. So I got a couple Disney cards. I got this stamped Alice, which was pretty cool. The other ones are just double rares. And these were all from the bulk bins. Art rares galore, you know, a lot of the usual suspects that I love, some CHRs, character rares like the Jinx. This one I've not gotten yet. I want to say Torterra, but that might be the last one. The middle evolution of Turtwig. Got the Tyranitar for 100 yen, which I was stoked with. So yeah, just a whole bunch of art rares there from the bulk bins, which is always fun. This one was, oh, this was a random little store, half of it. Let me find my half. This was just a random little store I stumbled into yesterday. It was literally really awkward because it was just two people in their tiny store, and then I walked in, but they did have some art rares up the front, unsleeved. They were 150 yen each, so I thought if I find anything cool that I know is normally more than 150 yen, I might pick it up. But because I bought so many, he ended up giving them to me for 100 yen. So I ended up paying 100 yen for each of these. We've got some character rares. We've got the Gardevoir, which is super nice. Curlier, again the Tyranitar. I got a bunch of the Cleffers because I'm obsessed with this card. Some Drowsies and some Lickitungs. So again, just a bunch of cards that are normally more than that 150 yen or around that 150 yen mark. So that was that one. I can't recall the name of that one. And then these ones were from, I think Amenity Dream was the name of the store. Again, just from art rare bulk bins. They were all 97 yen. So just a lot of the usual suspects. Again, just some ones I love. So that was that one. Okay, we've had a camera set up, switch up because the camera was full, so I've switched to our other camera. It'll have to do. So anyways, back to some of the graded cards we got. I got the Umbreon Unigaba. That was about 60, I'd say 67 Australian dollars in a PSA 10, which I thought was really good. Again, can't remember the name of the store, but it's all these small stores that their names are in Japanese on Google Maps, so I don't know the names of them, but have some really good deals. I also got the Pikachu promo, #1, it's Scarlet and Violet pre-order, about 37 Australian dollars, so I thought that was really good as well. And from that same store, I picked up some singles as well, just some not particularly interesting stuff, just for some of my binder completion challenges. Just some of those there, nothing too fancy smancy. Next up, Yellow Submarine. Again, just a couple cards for one of my binders. My V-Star Universe binder, just a couple cards from the bulk bins. But then also picked up the Charizard character rare from VMAX Climax. That one was marked as damaged, so it was only 280 yen. There's like a little bit of edge wear, but nothing drastic, so I think that was a pretty good deal. This store was probably my favorite store. It's where I picked up 4 graded cards, and it had a lot of really cool vintage stuff. I filmed the outside, so hopefully you saw that. So the first thing I got from their blind pack of 10 art rares, which I did show off, so I won't show them off too much. 68 cents an art rare, and there are some ones in here that are definitely normally more than 68 yen, so that was an awesome deal. I might definitely go back tomorrow and pick up some more of those. I got Daisy's Care for my 151 binder, and then some juicy stuff for another one of my videos I'm filming. Some vintage holos, so that was a really awesome store. And then on top of all that, I also got 4 graded cards from that store, so I'll jump into those now. I got the Caterpie from 151 art rare PSA 10 for 1,480 yen, so about 14 Australian dollars, which is less than the cost of grading the card, so I'm stoked with that. I also got the Dolive art rare, and I'm not a particular Dolive fan, but this one was 500 yen, and I thought for a PSA 10, that is $5. I would be stupid to not pick that up. Worst case, surely I can sell it for $6. Next one up, again, about 14 Australian dollars, is the Wiglet from Scarlet base set. I've fallen in love with this card since we've been in Japan. I've spent a lot of time looking at it. I love the Psyduck in the background. There's a Slowpoke, Lugidisk, Marini, like so many different Pokemon. It's actually a really beautiful card. And again, $14 for a PSA 10. It's lower than the cost of grading the card, so that was a great one. And then I got one more for $14, which was the Altaria from V-Star Universe. Another beautiful card. V-Star Universe is an amazing set. And again, a PSA 10 for $14. It just felt stupid not to. They did have some other ones for $14. They had the Zapdos from V-Star Universe. Can't remember the other ones, but they did have maybe 3 or 4 more for $14. They had some like the Dedenne from VMAX, I think it's from VMAX Climax, the character rare. I think that was $24 for a PSA 10, which is just also insane. So some really cool stuff in there. Next, we've got this store, which was the last store I went into, which I couldn't film because by this point it was pouring down. Just another small store. It's kind of near a McDonald's if you head in that direction. Just some art rares. So I got Ghastly, couple Mr. Mimes, they were 80 yen. I love a good 80 yen art rare. And then just some cards that I need for my V-Star Universe binders, and nothing too fancy. I mean, the Mew is pretty beautiful, but they're just binder pickups. But I did pick up one last graded card from that store. They had a binder of photos of all the PSA cards that they had, and all the cards that were in that binder were 2,980 yen, which is about maybe 28, 29 Australian dollars. So I got the Charmeleon from 151. Again, just a beautiful card, probably about the cost of grading it in Australia with PSA, so cannot go wrong with that. So today was like an absolutely awesome day, particularly graded cards. If you're looking for graded cards, particularly like art rare, cheap art rare PSA 10s, Ikebukuro is the place to go. Look for those smaller card stores where their names are all in Japanese on Google Maps. They'll have generally pretty good reviews. There are a couple with like over 4 stars. They were the ones to look out for, but I'm not done. That was just Ikebukuro. Might go out if I have some time tomorrow. If not, I'll see you in Akihabara.
Psych!
Okay, we did go for a very small card hunt again today. I did not bring the camera with me, but I went to one new store, which I'm not sure of the name of it, but it's in the same building as Super Potato in Ikebukuro. It is the floor above, has a ninja logo. It was pretty cool. They had heaps of bulk bins, heaps of old back bulk bins, art rare bulk bins. The art rares were like 120 to 180 yen, so a lot more than I'd want to pay for an art rare, but it was still pretty cool to see all of that. They also had some diamond and pearl, black and white, XY bulk, so really good selection of bulk if that's your thing. They also had a lot of vintage stuff in the cabinets, so it was actually a really cool store. And I did pick up a few things from there, and I picked up a few things from some stores I went back to, so I'll show that off as well. First of all, Rosh and I went to the Pokemon Center again this morning, and as is tradition and the law when visiting the Pokemon Center, we had to pick up a pack of 151 each. So we just got those pulls. We got a Snorlax and the Golem EX, which is pretty cool. Then I went back to the store. I don't know the name of this store, but I was talking about it yesterday. They had the like $14 graded slabs, and they had the bundles of 10 art rares for 680 yen. So about 68 Australian cents per art rare, which is a really good deal. Unfortunately, literally as we arrived at the store, we arrived right when it opened, like 1:05. Someone had just bought out the rest of the $14 graded slabs. So I think that was a pretty good deal, pretty good pickup yesterday. Unfortunately, couldn't get any more today, but I did pick up 2 new bundles of those 680 yen art rares, so I'll show you what I got in each one. I did already open them to get them in the sleeve. So this one had Dragonair on the front. You know what? I'm going to turn the camera around. So this is the first one with Dragonair on the front. These were probably the one I got yesterday was probably a bit better. I really like this Magby. But still, for 68 cents, like I said, the best deal I have found on art rares has been 30 cents at the book off. 80 cents is what I've been finding at some hobby stations. So 68 cents is really quite a good deal. And I really love this Gloom from Ruler of the Black Flame. So that was the first one. The second lot had Mewtwo from 151 on the front, so I thought that's already a pretty good deal. That's generally probably about 200 yen if you find a good deal, but more often than not it is a bit more. So we had the Mewtwo, the Pinsir, which is also a really cool one, Palafin, and then some other kind of random ones. I think that's Iron Moth. So this one was probably I liked a little bit less than the other two, but I'm still pretty happy with 68 yen per art rare and the APOM. So that's what I picked up from that store again. They still had a few more, but just opted for the 2 today. I then went to that ninja store, which is above Super Potato in Ikebukuro, and picked up a few things which I will show off. So they had some 30 yen art rares in the cabinets, which didn't really make sense to me because they had in the bulk bins they were 120 or 180 yen, and yet the like yellow labeled, which is normally played or maybe damaged art rares, were in the cabinet. But you know, I'm not complaining, they're 30 yen, so I picked up a few 30 yen ones. Got a couple Pidgeotos, couple Wiglets, Omanyte, couple Glooms, couple Pidgeys, couple Sudowoodos. I don't think I've picked up any Sudowoodos yet. Larvitar, and this one was 80 yen, but I got the Hisuian Arcanine character rare, which is pretty cool. This one I got for a friend. It's got a bit of an interesting corner, but it's a vending series 1. He's a Psyduck collector, and me and my partner Rosh looked at this card really intently, and we're fairly sure this is a Psyduck in the background there, along with a Pikachu. And I don't think he knows that this one has Psyduck in, so I think that's a pretty cool pickup for him. Picked up a couple of these, I think Diamond and Pearl era cards, Vulpix Ninetales, and then the Magikarp for about 24 Australian dollars, which is a pretty good deal. It has some minor print lines, but otherwise pretty good. The cheapest we have found this in Japan, I think it was $12 or $14. We found that once. Otherwise, $20 was the next cheapest. And then the last few times we've been out shopping, it's been $29 or above. So $24, I was pretty happy to grab that one. Now, also from this, which is a bit fun, which I'll save for the end, I picked up 2 packets of Korean Eevee Heroes. You know, Evolving Skies or Japanese Eevee Heroes is just so expensive nowadays. So I thought this is a nice cheap way to open up some of this set. So I'll do that at the end of the video. And then last but not least were my biggest pickups of the day. I went back to, I think it was called Torecca Chase, and picked up a couple graded cards. Start with this one. So the Espeon Unigaba PSA 10, about 49 Australian dollars. I had a look at this one yesterday. I ended up getting the Umbreon, which is back here. The Umbreon, which is probably one I'm just gonna kind of keep and watch with interest to see what happens. It is the most expensive of the Unigaba ones, but I think I got a pretty good deal on that one. This one's for my personal collection, this Espeon. I absolutely love it. Espeon, along with probably Sylveon, are my favorite evolutions, and so I ended up going back and grabbing that one. This one was a bit of a splurge. I didn't really even consider it yesterday, but I went back today and realized this is a really good deal. About 146, 147 Australian dollars, the PSA 10. You know, on eBay, these are all selling for about 280 Australian dollars, so I thought this is just a crazy deal. Again, one of my favorite alternate arts from Eevee Heroes and Evolving Skies. I just think it's super cool, really good price. I was wondering if it was so cheap maybe because it does look slightly off center, so I know some people are super particular about their PSA 10s and they want them to actually be perfect, but for me, I'm super happy with this. I think it's super awesome. Early 30th birthday present for myself. And now let's rip these Korean Eevee Heroes. I've never opened Korean Pokemon cards before, but I have considered it given the price of the Eevee Heroes is so cheap. I think you can get a booster box of it for like 80 something dollars last time I checked, which is just unreal. And I have seen some of the Korean cards floating around in some stores here in Ikebukuro. I know Card Secret had a bunch of them, including the Moonbryon. Hopefully we can get something good. Wouldn't that be the cherry on top of a good day? Nothing in that one. Go into the second one. Don't think it's looking promising here, but I'll keep going. Pretty sure I've only seen yellow. The holo Raichu in that one. Oh well. So that was all for here in Ikebukuro. Next time you see me, I'll probably be shopping in Akihabara. We'll see you then. Okay team, today may very well be our last full day of card shopping here in Japan, so there is only one place we absolutely have to go, and that is Akihabara. I had a look at Google Maps last night and there are a lot of stores to visit, so we've got a big task ahead today. Normally on these days, I start my day at a Pokemon Center and then around 11 or 12 head over to start card shopping, but not today. There's no time for a Pokemon Center. There are at least 3 or 4 card shops that open up at 10 AM, so we're gonna be there at 10 AM on the dot to get as much in as possible on this last full day of card shopping here in Japan. Let's get to it. We have made it to Akihabara. We've picked up some coffee and some brekkie. It's time to head into our first store. It's 10:05. Right here for when they open. First store is going to be Big Magic in this massive shopping centre. I can see a hobby station as well, but I don't think hobby station's open yet. If you've been following my card hunting series in Japan, you will know that hobby station has become one of my favourites because they always have bulk bins of art rares, which I love. They are my niche, and there are 3 in Akihabara, so it's going to be a really good day. So this shopping store is called Radio Kaikan, and it seems there are a few card stores in here. We've actually got a C Labo right here on the ground floor as well, and they actually seem to be open, so maybe C Labo will be our first store. Our challenge today is going to be that a lot of card stores will not let us film inside. C Labo, no filming. I operate under the fact that if I see a sign that says no filming, I don't even bother asking, I'm just not going to film, because I'm probably not going to be spending enough to justify them letting me film. But where we can film, we will, and I'll give a recap if I do think a store's really good. C Labo here at Radio Kaikan was quite small, so nothing of interest to us. So we'll head up to a higher floor, maybe Big Magic, and see what we can find. They're not open yet, so we will pop back later today, but we've just come across Magi and they've got kind of their stuff on display right here in the open, so I can show you some stuff before the store opens. Magi we went to in Osaka, and they generally have a lot of great cards, which is really, really cool, but they've got some old school vintage here as well and some higher end stuff, so I'll show you some of the really cool stuff we see. We've got a whole bunch of these old school cards graded, which is really cool. Whole bunch of those. We've got here the Southern Island sets, if you can kind of see those. They're about just over $100 for each of those. Some e-reader promos in the back. But we've got some vintage cards, a mix of like holos and non-holos. Got some Charizards up the back, some e-readers down the bottom. I really love this McDonald's Vulpix. It's really cool. That's one I've not picked up that I would love to get, but it's probably a bit much for me at the moment. We're now going to look in this store here. We are on, I think, the 7th floor now. On the outside they have trading cards, no Pokemon on the outside, but we're going to head in and see if they have any Pokemon on the inside. Bingo. There's some cool bangers in here. They've replaced the actual cards with just like a printout because obviously they're super expensive. We've got some Eevee heroes, as always.
Four hours later.
Okay, I've found the most epic shop ever, and I have asked permission to film after I made a big purchase, and he said yes, as long as I don't get other customers in, which is great. But this store is absolutely insane. The coolest bulk bins. I think I just spent 2 hours looking through the bulk bins. They had about 5 bulk bins just of E-series. They had bulk bins of like Diamond and Pearl cards. They had bulk bins of so many Bandai cards. There were some card-ass cards. It was insane. And if you look behind me, these cabinets are just insane. They have purchase limits on a lot of stuff, so the bulk old back cards had a limit of 30 a person. This one is the high priced holos, and you're only allowed to buy one, so that's kind of crazy. These slightly less expensive but still expensive holos, you can buy up to 5 per day per customer, so a lot of limits. They had some non-holo E-series cards that were in a cabinet, which were really cool, and they also had a purchase limit of 3, so they're doing their best to kind of stop that kind of resellers just buying up all the cool stuff. But I think I'm going to come back to this store because it's insane. Like, this is the caliber of stuff we're looking at, like the Shining Charizard. It is just crazy. These Arcanines are beautiful. It's Pichu. I've got the OG Moonbrown in there. Just some really insane stuff, like some base holos. Got the Mewtwo. I'll come over to this one. I mean, this one's, you can buy up to 5, so it's the lightly. Here it says, buy up to 5 from the showcase in one day, but only one of the same cards, so you can't buy multiple. So if there's a good deal, you're gonna have to come back another day. I love this Houndour. Got the Gyarados. Just a really cool, I'm obsessed with this Vaporeon. I bought myself one, very, very damaged and cheap, but still counts. Just really insane stuff. They've got some Bandai cards up top, the kind of holo ones, which were definitely not in the bulk bins. Coming down, we've got some card-ass cards, and these also have a limit, so you can buy up to 5 of these per customer per day. The E-series selection is the best I've seen in Japan. Just, I mean, this Cyndaquil is just incredible. The Charizard. I've honestly not seen anything like this. The Vaporeon is sick. They've got the Espeon, Gengar. Houndoom is really cool. We've got some Umbreons, just a couple. Some non-holo ones as well. I did almost pick up this one, but it was a limit of 3, so I went for 3 other ones, but Some of these are just so cool. I don't even know what to show you because they're all so cool. This Ninetales I picked up for myself today. These Charmanders. This Bulbasaur is really cool. I picked that up, but a cheaper version. Cyndaquil. Me too. That Gyarados is amazing. Got some E-Series promos down here. And these are the bulk bins. There are so many, there are more over there as well. So many E-Series bulk bins, so many Bandai, like I said. It was, honestly, I spent 2 hours in here and I could have kept going. I had to stop myself, I didn't get through every bin. It's very cool. You can see some Bandai bins. E-Series, Bandai, E-Series, Bandai, 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 E-Series, old back. Some Diamond and Pearl type stuff, some more old back, some more E-Series, more E-Series, more Bandai, like some sealed ass as well. And as you can see here, maximum number of old back cards in the sleeve storage is 30 per person. I spent so long sifting through this, particularly these guys. Some awesome sealed stuff as well. Some vintage packs, Celebi promo, sealed still, some Southern Islands, Nintendo, Eevee Heroes box. I have never been more grateful that I've spied a store from across the road and I've gone and looked into it. That was the best store I've been to in Japan, and as I was checking out I could see just like packages of E-Series cards sitting behind the register ready to be sorted. It was insane. So many cool E-Series cards, like just insane. And I found a really cool one that I think probably shouldn't have been in the bulk bin, but it was a Celebi promo. I think it was 400 yen. I'll have to show you because it was awesome. That was just a gold mine. Even all the Bandai stuff, like I've not shown much interest in the Bandai stuff, but when there were just bins and bins of it, I had to have a flick through. But even so, I think I looked through maybe 2 Bandai bins and there were about 10. So it's definitely something I need to go back if I have time while we're here in Tokyo and look again, because it was just insane. And that was just the bulk bins. I mean, in the cabinets as well, the one with the E-Series cards, and they had some non-holo ones that were awesome as well for like 800 yen. I picked up 3 today, but I might have to come back so I can get another 3 because obviously 3 per day limit. I'll show you some of my favorite stuff I picked up, but I'll show you the rest at the end of the video as well. So I'll show you 4 of my favorite things I got. So this one was in the bulk bin. It was 400 yen. Like I said, I think it probably wasn't meant to be in the bulk bin, but it is a Celebi promo. I looked it up on eBay and I think it's worth like a lot more than 400 yen. So I'll double check that again when I get home, but I think that was a really cool pickup. And then the 3 that I picked from the actual cabinet, obviously 3 limit. I had about 5 I was interested in, but he did say 3, which totally fine. So I got this Mewtwo for 800 yen, E-Series. I haven't seen a lot of the really popular Pokemons in like non-holo E-Series. E-Series just aren't everywhere, like they're really hard to find, and to see a selection like that was just insane. So I went for some basics. I got the Mewtwo, I went for this Bulbasaur, which is really cool, and then I also went for this Charmander. So I haven't seen any of those in stores before, and they had multiple copies of each, kind of different conditions. They were all priced a bit differently, but these were the cheapest, so like 600 for Charmander, 1,000 for Bulbasaur, and 800 for Mewtwo, so really, really good. Super happy with those, and I think I want to go back and pick out 3 more from that cabinet, but cannot rate that store enough. I didn't catch the name, but I will try and film the sign for you because that was the best store ever. And they were my favorites, but this was my total purchase from that store, so we'll have to go through that later. This yellow one here with the kind of mouse guy logo. You can see up there, it's got this spiral staircase and it's just on the main street here in Akihabara. I'm trying to see what else it's close by. There is a part of the street where there are 2 suragayas really close together. It's on the other side of the street and just a bit of a walk up, but that was really awesome on the 8th floor there. Highly, highly recommend, especially if you're looking for like old school bulk commons, non-holos, Bandai cards, Card-Ass cards like that. That was like an old school haven of like the best cards. So that was a real gem. And now to carry on to the stores I actually had on my list today, because I literally spent 2 hours. I checked when I last messaged my partner Rosh saying I'd arrived there and it was 2:40 and it's now 4:40. So it's time to move on. Just went into Magi. They had a lot of graded cards, but mostly high-end stuff. And I'm now going into a store called like Grand Panda or something like that. I'm only half sure I'm going the right way. Okay, the Panda one did not seem to have Pokemon. I couldn't see any Pokemon in the cabinets and I couldn't get to the bulk boxes because it was a bit busy. They did sell some sealed Pokemon product, which is interesting, but I couldn't see any singles. So I think there are a couple stores in the buildings behind me, so I'm gonna try and make my way there. There are still some like very common stores I want to head and stay. I want to go to the 3rd hobby station. I want to go back to the original Magi that wasn't open when we were there. It's just crazy. I think I'm gonna have to come back. Okay, I believe I'm going into another full comp. I haven't had an awful lot of luck with full comp in Japan, but I will check it out. And then there are a few other random ones that I need to go to, which they're literally card stores everywhere. It's so stressful. But amazing. I'm now going to check out this ginormous Mandarake. I think it is 7 or 8 floors. I hope they have trading cards. I know there's one in Akihabara where you go like underground. Don't think it's this one, so maybe this one won't have trading cards, but I'll pop in anyways.
A few moments later.
Okay, it's been a little bit since I last checked in, mostly because nowhere has topped that really good store. Mandarake I picked up, I think one card I need for one of my binder videos. I then went to Amenity Dream, didn't really see a whole lot. I went to the 3rd and final hobby station. They did have a bit of art rares, which is my favorite, but nothing really too cool. I think I picked up 2, so nothing too special. And now I'm making my way to the other Mandarake. I'm hoping that's the one I'm thinking of, where you kind of go underground and it looks like a cave, because I think that's meant to be kind of good. So fingers crossed that's the right one. The exhaustion is real. It is now like 6:45. We've been out since 10. I'm so tired. I haven't stopped. I've been on my feet the entire day. Even lunch was standing and that was about a 5-minute break. Otherwise been on the move. Now I just went in one of 2 Dragon Stars that I can see on Google Maps here. This one's right next to the station. It was chaos in there, so I didn't film. They were doing some sort of league night for some sort of TCG. Didn't see which one. It was very loud, people talking on the loudspeaker and stuff. But I did pick up some art rares from the new set that just came out a couple of days ago, Night Wanderer, which was pretty cool. They had a bit of a sale running. They were 90 yen, which was super good. Also picked up a Luminion G from Vista Universe, which is also on sale. That is something cool with Dragon Star, is they do mark cards as like damaged, but they also mark them on sale sometimes. So sometimes if they have too many of one card, it'll have a special sale and they'll only put a certain number of that card on sale, which is really cool. But now I think I'm just gonna go back to the original Magi and then call it a day, because I'm so wrecked. I lied. Just book off and then home. Gotta go to at least 1 book off a day. I'm back in Akihabara today. Returning to my favourite shop from the other day when I was here. I'm pretty excited. I did eventually find it on Google Maps actually. It doesn't pop up when you search trading cards shop. It's actually quite hard to find on the maps. The name is in Japanese, but when you click on it, if you scroll down, its website is Atachu Akiba. So I believe that's the name of the shop. But if you can't find it, it is in the same building as a trading card shop called PDG, which you will find on the map and should pop up when you search trading card shop. So same building, that is how you can find it. It's got all the vintage cards. So I'm gonna go back, see if there's anything else, some good finds we can get today. Search through those bulk bins a little bit again. And I'm not sure if I'll go anywhere else. There are a few shops I didn't get to the other day, but we're on a bit of a time crunch, so we'll just see how we go. This is my favorite one here. I've not actually been in that one. I've not checked that out, but that will pop up on Google Maps when you search trading card shop. So if you can't find this one, look for that one. But here it is. We went in one final store for the day called Hareruya. I think it is a chain, but I believe this is the first one I've been into in Japan. Really cool stuff. Bottom floor was all like modern stuff. They also had some graded cards and things like that. Second floor was all vintage. They had massive selection of sleeves and deck boxes and things like that. A really cool store, highly recommend it. Picked up some stuff for my 151 binder. Picked up this awesome deck box. I believe it's called the Grassy Gardening Collection, so pretty happy with that. They did have some other cool ones, but they were on the pricier side, but really cool store. Just kind of stumbled across it, but it was definitely a good one. Okay, that does it for our time in Akihabara and probably Tokyo as well. So I thought it was time to show you everything I got. Akihabara was definitely a bit more overpriced than other places in Japan, but I also found some really cool shops. One in particular that I was obsessed with. Ikebukuro, on the other hand, I had a lot better deals in my opinion, but both had a lot of stores, which was really good. So they're both really good areas for card shopping. So let's show you what I picked up in Akihabara. Okay, so first day in Akihabara, this is from one of the hobby stations. Just picked up a couple things from here. They did have an art rare bulk bin, but not a whole lot in there and nothing kind of of discounted. So I just picked up some art rares from the new set, which I love. It came out only a couple of days before I went shopping. Picked up a Poliwhirl from the bulk bin because I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, just a couple pickups there from Hobby Station. Next up we have Dragon Star. Some of these are all a bit jumbled because some places did not give me bags. So yeah, these are Dragon Star. Dragon Star, like I've said in my previous videos if you've watched them, they sometimes do these discounts. So sometimes there are yellow stickers, which means they're damaged or they're played, but they do also have these stickers which you can see the original price underneath. And this is kind of like a discount. Like they've got too many of this card and they're running a special limited sale. So they might have like 10 of this card up for sale. So it's kind of a limited time offer. So I picked up a bunch of the new Persian. I love this card. And just a few more from the new set. I thought 90 yen was a great deal for these brand new cards. Horsey not a part of the sale, unfortunately, but I did pick one up because it is beautiful. Some Houndoom and a couple Luminiums also on sale from V-Star Universe. So that was Dragon Star. Next up, Sneaker Dunk, just a card I needed for one of my set completions, so nothing too special there. I think this is a mishmash of stuff in this one. So I do not believe this was actually from Yellow Submarine, but again, just some cards I need for my set completions. They're kind of double sleeved, so nothing interesting there. Mandarake, again, just a V card I need for a set completion. This was a good one. I believe this was from a store called Hareruya Akihabara. They had really cool bulk bins, so much old back bulk and other generations and stuff like that. Quite a cool store to look around. And I did just pick up one card for myself from there, which was the Bandai Vulpix. So I found this in one of their binders, flicking through. Pretty cool. I cannot recall what this store was called, but I just picked up a bunch of cards for my 2 set completions, which are 151 and V-Star Universe. So make sure you check those videos out if you haven't already. So you can see just a bunch of trainers, some special art rares, and the Duskull from V-Star Universe. That one is. This was, I think, it was a book off or a Suragaya. Just this Ninetales, the non-holo version. From, I want to say, The Wind from the Sea, I think that set's called. Pretty cool, pretty happy with it. I think I did end up seeing it maybe slightly cheaper somewhere else, but nonetheless very happy with this pickup. Nothing interesting here, just a couple for my set completions there. I did go into a store called Hareruya today, picked up a couple things I'm not going to show you because it's for one of my set completions and it's a bit of a secret, so we'll leave that one, which leaves my 2 favorite bundles from my favorite store. This store, I think it was called Itachi Akiba or something like that, a massive hidden gem. This was like, had the most vintage I'd seen of any store in Japan. They just had the coolest cabinets, all sorts of vintage holos from all different generations, so many card-ass cards, so many Bandai cards, and just the best bulk bins of vintage. They had old back cards, they had E-series, some VS, so much Bandai, some card-ass. So literally the first time I went in here, I spent 2 hours in the store. So I'll show you this big bundle I got. The one downside to this store is they do have a lot of limits, purchase limits. So with the old back bulk, you're only allowed to pick up 30 per person, and pretty much every cabinet has a limit. So for example, cabinets of some of the E-series cards, you could only pick up 3 per person. The high-end holos was 1 per person. So if you do see a lot you like, you will have to go back quite a few times. But this is stuff I picked up from the bulk bins, just a bunch of Bandai cards. Just a whole different variety, ranging from kind of 200, 300 yen. So I picked up a few, some 400 yen, some more of the Vulpix. A bunch of that. This was also in the bulk bin. I don't know if it was a mistake because it looks pretty mint condition to me. I'd say maybe near mint. This Celebi promo. I think it's worth a lot more than 400 yen. But nonetheless, I'm pretty happy with that. Now this was one of my 3 pickups from the sealed cabinet. This Mewtwo E-series non-holo. I think just from the base expansion pack, looks pretty clean to me. That one was 800 yen. So the other 2 I picked up from the sealed cabinet because it was limit of 3. I got this Charmander from the base expansion pack, I think as well, or maybe even a deck, I think, for that Charmander. I thought that was really nice. And this Bulbasaur. And majority of these are first edition. There are a couple unlimited, but for the most part, all first edition. Now these ones in the cabinet, they usually had multiple copies of varying prices depending on the condition. So they'll hand you the whole lot and you can flick through and find the one you like. And then this all came from the bulk bins, I spent a good couple of hours flicking through them. Just a whole bunch of different non-holo E-series cards. They're just beautiful, like this Magikarp. Just super cool. I love this Growlithe. Love this Nidoran with the rainbow. And then I also got this Dugtrio is really cool. The Mankey with the rainbow. And then also from the bulk bins, they really don't have a whole lot of modern in this shop. I think they had one glass cabinet with modern and then a couple bulk bins of modern, but I did happen to find some art rares for 50 yen. On the first day, I didn't see any today, so glad I picked up these ones. And then today I did have to go back because there was just so much good stuff. I wanted to have another flick through, pick out a few more from the glass cabinet as well. And I brought Rosh, my partner Rosh, with me this time so we could pick a couple extra from the cabinet as well. So from the cabinet, we got 2 of this Magikarp, 600 yen each. This beautiful card. I got the Cyndaquil. I'm obsessed with this. It's so nice. Just really cool card and pretty clean as well. We got this Charmeleon, a Tomokazu Kamiya one, this Charmander, and I think that was it from the cabinet. I think that was 5. So we could have got one more, but we just went for those ones. And then this is what I picked up from the bulk bins today. So this is a BS series promo Sneasel, which I thought was pretty cool. And then just a whole bunch of other ones. The Cubone there is super cool. The Diglett that matches that Dugtrio. Primate, bunch of the Tangler. Oddish, Gloom. This Marowak's really nice as well. Shuckle. Mr. Mime. This Holo Steel Energy, and the Machoke. That may have been my favorite store in all of Japan. It's just, everything is so good in Japan. It's just so cool. It's hard to say which are the best stores, which are the best places, because it's just going to depend on what you're looking for. I personally love art rares, so my favorite shops were the ones that had really good deals on art rares, which was more often than not Hobby Station with their art rare bins I could pick up for 80 yen. I found some good places that had 30 yen art rares as well, which is really good. In terms of vintage, that Itachi Akiba, I think it was called, was probably by far the best, definitely in terms of bulk bins of vintage. Chirumo Akihabara also had really good vintage bulk bins as well. In terms of graded cards, I loved a couple of stores in Ikebukuro. I can't recall their names off the top of my head now, but I would have talked about them in the video. They had really cheap slabs, which was really good. And then just Osaka, just so much stuff everywhere. Really, really cool. Nagoya had a whole bunch of shops. Just all of Japan, really, really good. Depending on what you're looking for will depend on the store you like. So I definitely recommend blocking out at least a full day in each city to go and just go to as many stores as you can. Hunt around, look for the best price. It's a lot of fun. I've had so much fun filming these videos in Japan. I hope you've enjoyed watching them. Let me know in the comments what your favorite pickup of mine was from this video. It's definitely got to be all these E-series cards for me. And thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.